recent discoveries that subvert the past and change the history of our world. When it comes to history, these recent discoveries have shown that history can be rewritten. Well, it has to be rewritten because of the historical evidence, changing theories. Now, as we grow and evolve as a species, one of the first things we need to recognize is that we do not have all the answers. Even though our inventions have helped us a lot in our research, we don't know 100% of history. It's still being revealed to us with every archaeological dig, regardless of the existing theories about our past, and we never stop looking and always discovering something new. And very often, contradictory results emerge, which rather suggests that textbooks and history books need to be rewritten. And on the one hand, it's strange to think that we need to rewrite our history. But we have to look at the example. For decades, Stonehenge was considered a remote location dedicated to the mystery and magic. But archaeological excavations in the area now really reveal that Stonehenge was much closer to civilization than previously thought, forcing historians to reconsider the actual use of Stonehenge. Kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. Now, this fascinating, dramatic discovery linking Stonehenge to its original site in Wales, or as the Lost Kingdom of Netflix says, Wallace. So Feinbach's theory that blue stones first stood at Wan Mon before being dragged 140 miles to Wiltshire. An ancient myth about Stonehenge, first recorded 900 years ago, telling of the wizard Merlin, at the time of King Arthur, leading men to Ireland to capture a magic stone circle called the Giant's Dance and rebuilding it in England as a memorial to the dead. Geoffrey on Monmouth's account has been dismissed, partly because he was wrong on other historical facts, along with the blue stones of the monument came from the region of Wales that was considered Irish territory in his day. Now, a vast stone circle created by our Neolithic ancestors has been discovered in Wales, with features suggesting that the 12th century legend may not be completely false. We're talking about King Arthur and Merlin. Its diameter of 110 meters, identical to the ditch that encloses Stonehenge, and it's aligned on the midsummer solstice sunrise, just like the Wiltshire monument of Stonehenge. A series of buried stone holes that follow the circle's outline has been unearthed. The shapes that can be linked to Stonehenge bluestone pillars. One of them bears an imprint in its base that matches the unusual cross-section of Stonehenge bluestone, like a key in a lock, the archaeologists say. Now, Mike Parker Pearson, professor of British later prehistory at University College London, said, "I've been researching Stonehenge for 20 years now, and this really is the most exciting thing we have ever found. The evidence dates back a whole century theory that the nation's greatest prehistoric monument was built in Wales and venerated for hundreds of years before being dismantled, and it was dragged to the Wiltshire Stonehenge area in Britain now, where it was resurrected as a second-hand monument." Geoffrey had written of stones of vast magnitudes in his History of Kings of Britain, which popularized the legend of King Arthur, but which is considered a myth, as much a myth as historical fact. Parker Pearson said that there may be a tiny grain of truth in his account of Stonehenge. He said, "My word, it's tempting to believe it. We may well have just found that Geoffrey called what he called the Giant's Dance, that is Stonehenge." The discovery will be published in Antiquity, the peer-reviewed journal of the World Archaeology, and explored on a documentary on BBC Two. So they'll do a documentary series on this. A century ago, the geologist Herbert Thomas established that the spotted dolerite bluestones of Stonehenge originated in the Preseli Hills of Pembroke, where he suspected they had originated from, formed a venerated stone circle, And the newly discovered circle, one of the largest ever constructed in Britain, is virtually a stone's throw. It's only 3 miles from the Preseli quarries from which these blue stones were extracted before being dragged more than 140 miles to Salisbury Plain about 5,000 years ago. Now, in 2015, Parker Pearson's team discovered a series of recesses in the rocky outcrops of Carn Jodog and Carn Ros y Felin, with similar stones that the prehistoric builders extracted but left behind, carbonized hazelnut shells, the charred remains of a Neolithic snack from the quarry workers' campfires, were radiocarbon dated to 3,300 BC. That's over 5,000 years ago, meaning the blue stones had been quarried almost 4 centuries before Stonehenge was in fact constructed. So it convinced Pearson in 2015 that somewhere near the quarries there is the first Stonehenge, and that's where we're seeing the Stonehenge as a second-hand monument, he said. He talked of his excitement of finding the evidence. He said, how else do you explain that the stones come from a series of quarries 140 miles away as a crow flies, and if there's something other kind of a relationship? It just struck me that surely there has to be a stone circle. Over many years, Pearson and his team of professional archaeologists and students and volunteers explore every conceivable Preseli site in a needle in a haystack search. And to see the invisible, they use the most advanced scientific techniques, but they failed to reveal anything in the unyielding soil around the site named Wan Mon. It still has 4 monoliths, 3 now recumbent, and a century ago the suggestion that these were remnants of a stone circle was dismissed. So you see, they were wrong in the past. But the theory was proven correct. Parker Pearson refused to give up and resorted to tried and testing digging around those monoliths. He said, we were lucky because this circle had 4 stones still left. If they'd been taken to Wiltshire, we would never have found the circle stone holes, and I doubt archaeology would have stumbled across this 4 centuries to come. The acidic soil destroyed almost all organic matter that could have been carbontated, but traces of the ancient sunlight lingering on the soil was analyzed and gave a likely construction date of around 3,300 BC, confirming Stonehenge's secret and lost history. So this was originally on February 12, 2021 article on concerning the Stonehenge bluestones that are believed to have first stood at Wan Mon, W-A-U-N-M-A-W-N, before being transported to Wiltshire in Britain. This is from The Guardian. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support.